Welcome back, everyone. Today I will be showing you how to make one of these tiny mixed media books, and the ones that I'm making today I am going to be attaching key rings to and using them as miniature photo albums. And I will be using several different tools and materials for this project. So for the book, you will need an 8x10 sheet of cardstock paper, and I am using black, but you can use whatever color you want. Even printed cardstock paper would look very pretty for these. The cover is made from a thin piece of cardboard, such as that of a cereal box. And then you will need a ruler, some sort of writing utensil, a pair of scissors, and some white glue. To assemble the books into keychains, you will also need a length of sturdy wire. I am using 18 gauge stainless steel, but a beading rod would work just as well. And you will also need a heavier glue, such as E6000 or super glue, to secure the wire to the inside of the book's binding. For the book's closure, you will need a piece of thin string or elastic and some kind of sharp poking tool for making small holes in the cardboard covers. And then you will also need a key ring, a small length of chain, and a few jump rings and a pair of pliers to put everything together with. And then I will also be using a bead and charm, and these are totally optional. And finally, for texture and decor on the covers, you will need a small piece of tissue paper or coffee filter, some Mod Podge, small embellishments, and these could be miniature scrapbook embellishments, small beads, gears, flat back gemstones, even string, whatever you want to decorate the covers with. And then last but not least, you will need some paint and a paintbrush. And we are going to start by cutting some thin strips out of that cardstock paper. So these are 1 inch wide by 10 inches long. And I just took my 8x10 sheet of cardstock paper and laid it down with the 10-inch side on top. And then I just measured down 1 inch and marked my lines and then cut that piece out. And you will need 2 of these. And to make the pages, we are just going to start by folding this in half. So we're going to fold the piece in half, and then we will take each end of it and fold those into the center so that we have 3 folds and 4 sections. And now that that's done, we are going to start by taking this end and folding it into this first crease here. And then we are going to accordion fold the whole thing. So just measure these 2 creases up and pinch them together. And again, just measuring up to the next crease and pushing that together. And then the last one as well. There is our accordion fold, and you will have 7 folds and 8 squares on this, and you will need to do both strips like that. So now these are done, and you can see that there is a dotted line here where I tore my page out of the book, and I want those covered up on the finished piece. So I am going to be fitting these together as one piece like this, so that's going to cover up that piece. And then you need a flat on both sides for the covers. So there's a flat here, and we need this one to be a flat. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to remove this piece right here that will get rid of that dotted line and give us another flat on that side for the cover. And now we can start gluing these together. So I am just using some Elmer's glue, and we're going to start from the back side, and you're just going to put a little bit of glue on that second square there. And you don't need a lot of glue. You just want to spread it out very thinly and make sure that you get good coverage all the way up to the corners, and then fold that in on itself and press it tight. And on the next section, we're going to do the same thing. And this last piece here is the one that is going to attach to the other side. So I'm just going to set this up so that I have it how it fits together. And then these two pieces, you're going to get glue on both sides of those. And then we can fit this on here. And you're just going to line it up to that last crease there and then fold it in on itself. Just like that. Here's our pages, and we are just going to continue gluing these down the back side. This last piece here will be your back cover, and this is our front cover. So there is our little book. And now we can start making the cover. So I've got, I'm just using an old Ritz Crackers box. And to start with, I am going to take my piece of cardstock paper and I am just going to measure out this corner so that I have a nice square to work with. And now that we've got a square, we can start making our cover. So I want a 1/4 inch border all the way around the whole piece. So I am going to start by marking a 1/4 inch right here off of the first line. And we're going to make a line there. And then the same thing on the other side, we're just going to mark it at a 1/4 inch and then make another line so that we have a 1/4 inch border on both sides of that corner. And now we want the length of both covers, but we also want the length of the center section for the binding as well. So you are just going to measure your book up to this side edge and pinch those pages together tightly, and we are just going to mark where this other cover sets so that we have the total length of the book. That's both covers and the binding. And then I want a 1/4 inch border around the whole piece, but I also want an 1/8 of an inch border on the inside for the book to set. So I am going to mark an 1/8 of an inch out right here off of the edge of the length and make another line there. And then from there, we are going to go another 1/4 inch out to put a 1/4 inch border on that to match up with the rest of it. So I'm just going to mark this out again at another 1/4 inch and make another line. And that takes care of our length. And now we need the height of the book as well. And we know that this book is 1 inch tall and we want an 1/8 of an inch border on either side of it. So we are going to mark this down at 1 1/4 inches. That is an inch for the book and an 1/8 of an inch on the top and bottom of the piece. And then again, we are just going to do another 1/4 inch border off the bottom of this piece so that we have a 1/4 inch all the way around. And now we've got our book cover with our 1/4 inch border on all sides, and we are just going to cut this piece out. And once you get that cut out, you can add a little bit of glue to your covers and line this up and just eyeball it so that you have an even border all the way around the book. And press those pages down. You don't want to glue it super tightly in the center. And once it is glued, we are going to be cutting out a little notch right here on either side of this cover first. So just right here on either side of the binding, we're just going to cut out a little notch there, a strip. just like this. So we've got a little flap on the top and the bottom, and then you can take your poking tool, and this came out of a manicure set, but you can use a nail or larger embroidery needle, just something to poke a hole through that tiny little strip of cardboard that you cut. And you only want a hole on the top. And now you can take your wire and you are going to fit that. You're going to fit it through the back side of the hole, just like that. And then this end of it is going to slide right down the binding here behind the pages. Push that down there, and you're just going to push it down to that line. And then this lower flap that we cut is going to fold right over that piece of wire. So this one will fold over here to hold that wire in place. And then on the top, the same thing. This piece will just fold down with the wire through it. And you're just going to pinch that down and place it underneath the cover. But we will need some glue. So to get the glue on there, I have just pushed the piece all the way through, and I am adding some E6000 here to the bottom of it. You can use super glue if you want to. Just add your glue to the bottom, and then you're just going to pull that back up through the binding and secure it right there against the line and fold that lower flap over the wire. And we're going to do the same thing on the top part. And once you've got your wire secured in there, you can just cut the top of it down, leave enough room to make an eye loop on there. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is folding up all of these lines. So if you just measure your ruler up to that line and use it as a guide to fold this in. And we are going to fold in every one of these pieces all the way around the cover. And once you've got that done, we can start clipping corners. So these two corners on the inside at the binding, we're just going to trim off really thin sections, tiny little triangles. And then the same thing on our edges, we are just going to cut right here off of these corners so that we have, we can fold them in without them going over the tops of each other. And this is what it looks like when it's done. And now our next step is going to be gluing these folded pieces down over that cover. And this is what it looks like when it's all glued. And now we can take our pliers and make a loop out of this wire. And you can do this beforehand if you want to. I prefer to do it afterwards. It's much easier for me. So you're just going to twist that into a little loop there so that we have a place to attach our keychain. And now is the fun part. We can start decorating these. So I have a piece of tissue paper here. If you don't have tissue paper, a coffee filter is a perfect substitute. And you're just going to crumple that up really good. And then I've got some Mod Podge here. And we are just going to brush these covers with Mod Podge and add this tissue paper in strips. And we're going to be applying it to the front and back covers. So I am going to start with this one, and I'm just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge on here. And you want these wrinkles, so you don't want to put it on there nice and tight, kind of pinch it together in places so that you have a nice wrinkled texture. And once you get it on there, you are going to use your brush to kind of dab some of that Mod Podge over the top of it as well and secure those wrinkles down. And you are going to be doing the back sides too, but you want to let the fronts dry first. So I am just going to measure this up and tear this. And then we are going to do all 3 books like this. And I am going to do the back sides as well. And then you can just set these aside and let them dry. So once they're dry, this is what they'll look like. And I did go through and trim off the excess and then fold them down over the inside covers with some extra Mod Podge so that everything looks nice and clean. And you can see that this tissue paper has given us a really nice wrinkled texture on all those covers. And now we can start adding embellishments. So I've got a flat back stone. I'm going to do a gear on this one. And for this one, I've got this tiny clay heart and this jewelry ring. I've also got a few links of string here that I may or may not use. And then I have some tiny seed beads for additional embellishments if I need them. You can use whatever you want to decorate these. These ones were done with flat back stones and string and then tiny sequins. And this one, I don't know if you can see it very well, but these are tiny pieces of eggshells that I placed in between those folds. And I am using E6000 to glue down my embellishments. So I'm going to start with my flat back stone on this one. And then my gear, and you're just going to place each of these right in the center of the cover. And then on this one, I'm going to do the heart and I'm going to put the ring right around it. Just like that. So here they are, and I am going to be working with this flat back stone first. So I'm going to set these ones aside. And this one, I am going to put some string on. So I've got my piece of string, and I am just going to soak this really well in some Mod Podge with my paintbrush. And then I am just going to be attaching this to the front cover around the flat back stone. So I'm going to start with a little loop here. And I'm going to put that on the top of the stone. Like that, and then I'm going to get another loop on the side of it. And then I will be doing 2 more loops, one on the bottom and one on this side as well. And this is what it looks like. And then I'm just going to set that aside to let it dry. And on this one, I am going to add some of these seed beads for additional embellishment. So I've just got some E6000 here on my finger, and I'm just going to dab this on kind of diagonally across that cover. And then I will start placing these seed beads, and I'm just using different sizes and placing them randomly from corner to corner around this little heart here. Just like that, and we're going to set these aside and let them dry for a little bit. And I am not going to film the whole paint process and everything. I'm going to go ahead and paint these and get them put together, and then I will be back to talk to you about how I did that. So here are the finished pieces, and this one I painted in different shades of blue and white, and I am not super happy with the way that this one turned out. If you look at it from back here, it looks nice, but once you get up close, it's kind of messy and ugly. I should have used the smaller string like I did on the other ones. This one turned out really well. I love the sparkle on it. I used 2 different shades of pink and then dry brushed it with some gold and then added the glitter, and I think it looks very vintage and very pretty. And this one, again, very simple. I just painted it in gold, and then I did the gear itself in bronze with a silver screw on it, and it turned out really well also. Now let's talk a little bit about the closure on these. For this one, I don't have any elastic, so I just used string, and I just made 2 holes in the back cover and then fit my string through there and secured both sides with a knot. This one I used a button close, so I've just got a small bead here, and the same thing, I poked a small hole in the front and back cover and just secured each loop with a knot, and I did use a dab of super glue to secure those knots. And on this little tiny one, this is just a rubber band, one of those small ones for hair, and I just wrapped it around there and then glued it to the back cover, and that worked out really well. And as far as turning them into keychains, this one, actually both of these two, I used a bead for extra embellishment on these, and then they've each got a little charm as well that is attached with a chain. And this one I used just a length of suede for the keychain, and I just looped that around the keychain and then attached it on the end here with a cord end. And again, it's got a little charm as well. You could just use chain on these. You don't have to have the beads and the charms. And I also painted the inside covers of these black so that they look nice. And if you open them up, you can see that these pages are all black, and they are about the perfect size for those little thumbnails that you get with your prints at Walmart. So that's what I'm going to be putting in these. That is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed making these. Before you run off, I would like to talk a little bit about what is next on my channel. Valentine's Day is just 4 weeks away, so my next 2 videos will be focused on Valentine's Day gift ideas. So next week, that is Wednesday, the 24th, I will be sharing 9 DIY gift ideas that children can make. And these are all low budget, practical keepsake gifts that children of all ages can make with their own hands and give to people for Valentine's Day. And then the following week on the 31st, I will be posting another video that is 9 clever and very thoughtful Valentine's Day gift ideas for men, specifically for husbands or boyfriends, because I think that they are the hardest to shop for. So don't miss out on that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, comment below, and consider subscribing to stay updated on future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with you guys next week on Wednesday.